My family's getting lots of death threats. We counted over 20-some death threats already.
My son was supposed to be home at 6 o'clock, and it's almost 7. He's only 11. Okay. What's his name?
It was Monday, January 27th, 2020. Gannon Stauch, just 11 years old, left home at around 3:30 p.m. to visit a friend. But when 6 p.m. came and went with no sign of Gannon, a sense of dread began to creep in. This wasn't like him. Panic tightened its grip on Leticia, his stepmother, as she dialed the El Paso County Sheriff's Office in Colorado, her voice trembling as she reported the boy missing. Little did she know, this call would be the start of the family tragedy. If you are new to our channel, be sure to hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss any future videos. Now, let's dive into this heartbreaking story. Gannon Jacob Stauch was born on September 29, 2008, in Horry County, South Carolina. He was the son of Landon and Albert Stauch. From the very beginning, Gannon's life was a fight for survival. He was born 3 months premature, and doctors were uncertain if he would make it. But Gannon was a fighter. He overcame the odds and grew into a healthy, vibrant child. Gannon's father, Al Stauch, served in the United States National Guard, a role that required him to be away from home for extended periods. The strains of military life took a toll on his marriage, and the couple eventually divorced when Gannon was just 6 years old. Despite that, Al and Landon continued to co-parent their children, including Gannon's younger sister, Lena. In 2015, Al remarried Leticia Stauch. The family dynamic began to change. In 2018, the Stauch family moved to Colorado Springs after Al received a new assignment. For Gannon, this move was a significant change, but he adapted well. He was described as a sweet, helpful child who loved spending time with his family and pets. Nothing in Gannon's life seemed to suggest he would run away. When the police arrived at the house, only frantic Leticia was home. She said Gannon was sick, so had stayed home from school that Monday. Then she took him out running a few errands together. When they returned home, Gannon asked to play with a friend. At 6 p.m., as the family was going to have dinner, she went to that friend's house, but Gannon was never there. Leticia then told the officers that her husband, Albert Stauch, Gannon's biological father, who was stationed in Oklahoma, had been frantically calling all of Gannon's friends, but none of them had seen the boy that afternoon. The police officially listed Gannon as a juvenile runaway, and the search began in earnest, with the community rallying to help. On January 28, 2020, the day after Gannon's disappearance, Al returned from Oklahoma, having taken leave from work to aid in the search for his son. Gannon's biological mother, Landon, also flew in from South Carolina, desperate to find him. The next morning, investigators interviewed both Al and Leticia at a local coffee shop. They insisted that Gannon showed no signs of depression or unhappiness at home. He was not the kind of child who would simply vanish without a trace. And yet, Gannon was gone. In the relentless search for any clues that might lead to Gannon, the investigation took an unexpected twist. Leticia suddenly reached out to the investigators, requesting a private meeting. She was brought to the sheriff's office for a confidential discussion. Leticia dropped the bombshell. Gannon hadn't simply disappeared. He had been kidnapped from their home. The revelation sent shockwaves through the investigation, casting everything in a new, sinister light. On that fateful Monday, as Leticia drove through the neighborhood to fix the burned carpet, she noticed a group of construction workers nearby. She approached one of the men and asked if he could handle the repairs. He agreed, and in a moment of trust, she gave him their home address and the security code to let himself in and start the job. But what seemed like a simple errand was about to spiral into something far more sinister. When Leticia returned home, she was immediately unsettled by strange noises coming from the downstairs room. To her horror, she discovered the construction worker wasn't there to fix anything. He was standing in the room, holding one of her husband's handguns. The man, whom Leticia identified as Eduardo, wasted no time in revealing his true intentions. He lunged at her, assaulting her with a terrifying force. Gannon, brave beyond his years, tried desperately to intervene, but his courage only redirected the intruder's fury. Eduardo turned his violent attention to the boy, attacking him with ruthless aggression. As the chaos unfolded, Leticia felt the world slipping away. The next thing she knew, she was waking up to a haunting silence. Both Gannon and Eduardo had vanished without a trace. This shocking revelation caught the detectives off guard. Eager to accelerate the search for answers, they asked if Leticia would be willing to undergo a special health examination called the SANE exam. The forensic nurses will check the victim body and gather potential evidence as part of the criminal investigation. Once hearing the word exam, Leticia's demeanor shifted dramatically. She began to dodge questions as if she was desperately trying to conceal something.
She said that I would be able to go. Like, she didn't say I would be, like, I'm sure I've been here hours. And she said specifically that I would be able to go.
And I'm not saying that you can't. I'm asking if you can give me a few minutes.
I can't, if you can, you just call me, or, I mean, I still have, like, you know, I have to maintain my mental health in this whole situation, and that's really important. You know, and I just want to go, my lips are burning, and I want to take a shower. I mean, look at my fingers and all that things.
Right. So it would be better to get the forensic exam
I'm not
done
going over there, like,
before you
not
take a shower.
not like cleaned. I'm not doing that. Like, as in shaved and things like that. I'm not doing that. I haven't showered in 2 days. Like, that's disgusting. I'm not doing that. But I will gladly go.
Well, I mean, so you're saying you want to go take a shower before you go get the
No,
exam done?
I didn't say I was going to go take a shower. I said I need some time to just rest. I'm exhausted. I want to take a shower. My hair is nasty. And I'm not going over there, like, dirty, smelly, for someone to...
But you realize that's how we gather evidence, right? So if you go take a shower right now, and I understand that you're, like, uncomfortable, right? And that you want to take a shower.
Right.
And so that's why I would like to get you over to the hospital to get the exam done.
Okay, well, then I'm driving myself there. Because I'm not getting escorted to an exam when I'm already going through a difficult time with having someone violate my body. To whether you go in the front or the back. I mean, am I not allowed to take myself there?
I didn't say that at all. I'm trying to figure out, and I'm trying to impress upon you, like, if you go take a shower, then you wash away the evidence.
I know, I understand. I just said...
And you said you weren't going to go over there while you're...
Yeah, I don't want to go dirty. I can at least go freshen up or something. Like, I'm...
Okay.
Reluctantly, Leticia agreed to go to the hospital. But once there, she suddenly complained of intense chest pains. She had to take her anxiety medicine regularly because of her claustrophobic. However, she forgot to have them today. A panic attack was driving her insane. She demanded to open the door and let her get fresh air. Paramedics were quickly brought in to assess Leticia's sudden distress, but their evaluation revealed something surprising. She was perfectly healthy. Despite this, Leticia rejected more examination. She was uncomfortable and wanted to go home. But her home was another problem. Investigators honed in on a particularly suspicious detail in Leticia's story. She claimed she had cleaned up the crime scene after the assault, saying she couldn't stand the mess it left behind. This raised red flags, prompting officers to take a much closer look at the Stouch house. As news of Gannon's disappearance spread throughout the community, Leticia was under fire. As the last person to see Gannon alive, Leticia seemed to deliberately withhold crucial information. The mounting pressure even led people to believe she was actively obstructing the investigation. Facing an onslaught of public scrutiny, Leticia decided to clear her name in an exclusive interview with local news station KKTV.
I am Tisha Stout, which is Gannon's stepmother.
You've been a part of the investigation since the very first time. You were the last person to see him. Is that right?
Correct.
What did you see when you last saw him?
Well, I'm not allowed to talk about anything with the case. I would more so be willing to talk about how the community needs to have faith and continue to work together and not make these false accusations, like the things that have been said that I've disappeared from the community. I haven't been there to help, but there's lots of reasons behind that.
Reasons like death threats, right?
Right. Death threats are one of them. My family's getting lots of death threats. We counted over 20 some death threats already. 2, my husband's ex-wife is living in our home. And of course, I'm not coming home to do these things and to help with the family when I was kind of like told I couldn't. And then many other things that happened with the El Paso County Police Department, you know, and in doing the investigation, I was told I wasn't complying. And can I elaborate on that?
Please do.
Yes. So I asked for an attorney during the interview, and I was denied that by them. I was held because they were blocking the door, and I was told I couldn't leave, and that if I would have touched them, they would have probably, you know, said I still wasn't complying or said I was, you know, trying to run away or something. But during the interview, I asked several times, could I stop the interview? Could I get an attorney? Could I stop the interview? Could I get an attorney? I was denied. I was told I couldn't get nothing to drink. I couldn't go to the bathroom. I mean, it was continuously that my constitutional rights were violated.
The way that people are reacting online to rumors about you with the search.
Oh, yes. Wow. The rumors have gotten so bad. I pretty much have been told at least 10 different ways that these people have these conspiracy theories. I guess they watch a lot of law shows and maybe they have all these theories on how Gannon is dead. And that's what they're saying. So I'm like, why are you saying Gannon is dead? He is not dead. We are going to find Gannon. We all have been doing that together so that we can protect each other.
Letitia just made a chilling slip on air. She referred to Gannon in the past tense. The whole interview, she just wanted an apology, rather than wished her boy safe return. By January 30th, 2020, the situation had become even more dire. Gannon was officially labeled a missing and endangered child, prompting a surge in search efforts. The community rallied together as local businesses stepped up, offering drones to help investigators scan potential locations from the sky. Volunteers, search dogs, and helicopters joined the fray, expanding the search into neighboring counties. The urgency grew by the hour, but so did the ominous cloud of suspicion surrounding Letitia. As part of the investigation, police conducted a thorough search of the Stouch home. Gannon's younger sister, Lena, revealed that on the day Gannon went missing, Letitia had instructed her not to disturb him, and Gannon's bedroom door had remained locked the entire afternoon. Investigators immediately searched Gannon's room, where the sharp scent of bleach lingered in the air, setting off instant alarm bells. What they found was chilling. Tiny droplets of blood were discovered on the wall near Gannon's bed, and when investigators lifted the carpet, large amounts of blood had soaked through the carpet and pooled on the cement floor beneath. It was clear now that something terrible had happened to Gannon, and the extent of the blood loss made it almost certain he had not survived. In Douglas County, Colorado, roughly an hour away from the Stouch residence, police made a grim discovery, a piece of wood stained with blood in a secluded area near the highway. This crucial evidence was swiftly sent for forensic analysis. As investigators anxiously awaited the results, they uncovered another alarming detail. Letitia had abruptly left town, traveling to South Carolina with her daughter Harley. A few days later, the blood analysis from the piece of wood confirmed the worst. It was a match to Gannon. This heartbreaking news devastated both Al and Landon. As the gravity of the tragedy sank in, a neighbor of the Stouch family, Roderick Drayton, came forward with critical surveillance footage. The video revealed that Gannon had not left the house on foot that afternoon, nor was there any sign of a stranger taking him. Instead, it showed Letitia and Gannon leaving the house together, with Gannon appearing to walk strangely, as if he had been drugged. With this damning evidence, the Federal Bureau of Investigation was brought in. Convinced that Letitia was concealing vital info, Al agreed to collaborate with the FBI to uncover the truth and bring her to justice. The net was closing in on Letitia, and the investigation was about to reach its harrowing climax. Al Stouch finally made a difficult decision. He gave his phone to the FBI. As the calls with Leticia were monitored, the agents listened intently, and it wasn't long before their suspicions were confirmed. With each call Leticia made to Al, her story kept changing, becoming more confusing and inconsistent. She insisted that the man she hired to fix the burnt carpet had kidnapped Gannon, but her story shifted as she alternated between calling him Eduardo and Quincy Brown. At one point, she even blamed Brown, a known criminal in the area who had been causing trouble. However, the police quickly determined that Brown had no connection to Gannon's disappearance. When Al confronted Leticia with the damning evidence, surveillance footage showing no one had kidnapped Gannon and blood in his room, Leticia's story changed again, trying to fit the new facts.
Someone was following us. There was this pregnant lady. So I agreed to help the pregnant lady. And I realized she's not pregnant once she gets in the car. I just was supposed to walk in Petco, look around, be normal, go drop this lady off somewhere.
She told you to walk into Petco?
She forced me. It's just being caught up in the wrong place at the wrong time with people who are money laundering, wanting me to deliver a paper to these Mexican restaurants, and you're supposed to get packages back from them. And I wouldn't do it.
You want me to believe you, but I feel like you're just telling me something to make me feel better about Gannon missing. Kind of like the Quincy Brown thing. I mean, now it's a pregnant lady with cash in her belly.
I'm innocent.
When Al, growing increasingly suspicious, confronted her and demanded to know why she had been lying all along, Leticia's demeanor shifted abruptly. Her voice hardened with anger, and without warning, she cut the call.
I never supposed to call 911. I'm supposed to be taking him back, and I called 911. I swear to God, Quincy's real.
What I'm trying to work out with you here is just the freaking truth.
Albert, I'm telling you, he hurt Gannon. I was fine.
Who has Gannon?
Albert, they're gonna kill me.
Who is they? These are the questions I need to know.
Leticia claimed that Gannon had been taken hostage by a money-laundering cartel. When Gannon tried to assist a pregnant woman near a pet shop they had visited, but the woman wasn't really pregnant, she was hiding money under her dress. The cartel was now holding Gannon hostage and had threatened to silence her if she revealed their true identities. There was one more call made between Al and Leticia, and her story changed once more. Leticia claimed that Gannon fell out of a bike and severely injured himself. With tears in her voice, Leticia described how Gannon had been bleeding from his head, arms, and knees.
I'm sorry for all the stories. I just didn't know what to do. And he fell off of it. He got hurt bad. He was bleeding. His arms, his knees, his hands.
But investigators weren't buying it. They recognized Leticia's story for what it was, a desperate attempt to stall for time. Determined to uncover the truth, they intensified their efforts, securing search warrants to delve deeper into Leticia's movements and phone records. The more investigators uncovered, the more their suspicions grew. On January 28, 2020, Leticia made a puzzling decision. She rented a second van, even though she had just picked up Al from the airport that same day. Al later explained that Leticia didn't want to add extra mileage to her own car. Investigators also learned that Leticia had her own vehicle thoroughly cleaned. As investigation continued, Leticia's cell phone records and internet search history revealed even more alarming details. The night Gannon was reported missing, Leticia asked her daughter Harley to buy cleaning supplies and trash bags. Even more damning were her online searches. How to remove blood from sheets, searches related to plastic surgery, face transplants, and unsettling thoughts about her stepson. In one crazy lookup, she searched how long it takes for a body to decompose in a bag. Leticia also believed Al was having an affair. Her Google searches suggested she was contemplating divorce. Additionally, her strained relationship with Gannon's biological mother, Landon, became evident. Leticia felt no one appreciated her efforts in caring for Landon's children. Leticia and Harley's sudden move from Colorado to South Carolina, amid investigation, raised even more red flags. This abrupt departure, coupled with the growing evidence, convinced the investigators that there were sufficient grounds to issue an arrest warrant. The blood evidence in Gannon's room led investigators to the heartbreaking conclusion that the boy was no longer alive. On February 28, 2020, an arrest warrant was issued for Letitia Stouch. She was apprehended by police in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina on March 2, 2020, and taken into custody for further questioning. The intricate web of lies Letitia had spun was finally beginning to unravel, bringing justice for Gannon within reach. Letitia faced a barrage of charges: first-degree murder of a child under the age of 12, child abuse resulting in death, tampering with a deceased human body, and tampering with evidence. Where was Gannon's body? Investigators believed that Letitia had murdered Gannon on the afternoon he disappeared, likely after they returned from their drive. To keep anyone from discovering the horrific truth, she locked his bedroom door, ensuring no one would enter, while she methodically cleaned up the evidence and disposed of his body. Desperate to cover her tracks before the authorities arrived, Letitia messaged Harley, instructing her to pick up additional cleaning supplies and trash bags to replace what she'd already used. Once the grim task was complete, Letitia moved Gannon's body to the trunk of her car, hiding him away as she awaited her next move. Letitia proved to be a volatile and dangerous prisoner. During transport, she managed to slip out of her handcuffs, launching a violent attack on a deputy and attempting to seize her firearm. The struggle led to a tense standoff, resulting in the deputy being rushed to the hospital for a checkup, while Letitia was detained in a Kansas jail for 24 hours.
She keeps threatening me. Stop. Well, she keeps threatening me. Stop. Well, she keeps on threatening me. I have stopped it. She keeps on.
FBI agent Jonathan Grusing took on the daunting challenge of questioning Letitia, determined to break through her carefully constructed lies and uncover where she had hidden Gannon's body. The interview would prove anything but straightforward. Letitia was guarded, evasive, and skilled at deflecting. The stakes were impossibly high. Every second counted as he pushed to find the answers that would finally bring Gannon home. When Agent Grusing sat down to confront Letitia, she looked shocked. How could she be charged with Gannon's murder, and Gannon was dead? Letitia insisted that Gannon was still alive, claiming that she was being unjustly prevented from helping in the search. When Agent Grusing pressed Letitia about the recorded phone calls, she didn't flinch. She had her story prepared.
To him was the reason I already knew someone was listening to him. Like I'm sitting here going to tell you these things. That was just anger, stupidity.
During the first hour of the interrogation, Letitia repeatedly turned to Agent Grusing, pleading for his help to protect herself and her family from the so-called people who had taken Gannon. But Grusing, sensing the need for a new approach, shifted his focus. He began asking Letitia about the challenges she faced in raising the children, a topic she eagerly engaged with, hoping it painted her in a sympathetic light. She portrayed herself as a victim of unfair judgment. As she grew comfortable, Grusing carefully steered the conversation back to the hard evidence, the damning search history found on her phone, each search a stark contrast to the image of the devoted stepmother she tried to project. Letitia realized the walls were closing in on her.
Because in here I even have what you entered in your phone. The stuff that you've entered and deleted, like blood is spurting from an arterial bleed. It's on your phone.
And I never looked up anything about my stepson or someone else did.
One day, some people will wish they treated you differently, which I get that. Parenting should be for people, not one.
Letitia clung stubbornly to her claim that Gannon was still alive, even as Grusing laid out the overwhelming evidence against her. Despite his relentless efforts, every question seemed to hit a wall of denial. She deflected, evaded, and twisted the conversation at every turn. But then, in a moment of deflection, Letitia shifted her narrative once again. She insisted that she had indeed sought help from the FBI, but her trust had faltered due to what she described as law enforcement's past failures. It was a calculated move, casting herself as someone who wanted to cooperate but had been let down by the very people trying to help. Grusing once again laid out the damning evidence that had led to her arrest, each piece fitting together like a puzzle with only one possible conclusion. But Leticia, refusing to admit defeat, tried to dismantle his case, insisting that his theory was flawed and made no sense.
From the blood in the house? That's what I'm thinking happened. I'm not saying he just got dismembered in the house, but there's enough blood in there that we don't think he survived.
Grusing saw through her ploy. The cracks in her story were growing wider. He warned her of jail time if she continued to lie.
You're in jail, Leticia.
No, I didn't do it.
Well, what could you be scared of at this point? Reprisal?
Jail time immediately had impact on Leticia. After coming back from a quick break, she made up a new story about a mysterious woman named Angel who might have taken Gannon. But Grusing wasn't swayed by this sudden twist. He confronted her directly and called out her bluff. This made Leticia's attitude changed 180 degrees. She began answering Grusing's questions with a haughty tone.
Do you want me to walk through where all the blood was, or do you know it already?
Listen, sir, I don't...
Yeah.
I know for a fact that I did not hurt him.
How does the bottom of your shoe have Gannon's
As
blood
long
in it?
as I can live with that and know that God knows I did not hurt Gannon, then I'm okay with that.
In a last-ditch effort, Leticia attempted to turn the tables on the investigation, blamed it all on the FBI. The tension in the room escalated as Leticia grew increasingly confrontational, her defenses hardening with each passing moment. She accused Grusing and other investigators of merely speculating about her involvement in Gannon's murder. But Grusing had heard enough. He calmly ended the interview, his eyes locking onto hers as he delivered the final blow. She was being arrested and extradited back to Colorado. The gravity of his words hung in the air, signaling the end of Leticia's charade and the beginning of her reckoning.
If Gannon were alive, you would sacrifice yourself for him. You said if Gannon was alive, you would do everything, including sacrificing yourself, to get us to him.
On March 11th, 2020, Leticia made her first court appearance, her demeanor cold and unyielding as the judge denied her bail. She was remanded to custody at the El Paso County Jail, where she would await her trial. But the case took a heart-wrenching turn just days later. On March 17, 2020, nearly 2 months after Gannon was reported missing, a construction worker discovered a brown suitcase under a bridge in Florida. Inside the suitcase, wrapped in a blanket, was the decomposed body of Gannon Stotch. The discovery was heartbreaking, but it provided the evidence needed to charge Leticia with Gannon's murder. The autopsy revealed that Gannon had been brutally murdered. He had suffered 18 stab wounds, blunt force trauma to the head, and a gunshot wound to the jaw. Additionally, toxicology reports showed that Gannon had been drugged with a potent painkiller, rendering him defenseless during the attack. It was overkill, and his death was ruled a homicide. The discovery of Gannon's body sent shockwaves through the community, culminating in a somber press conference where his parents, Landon and Al, spoke to the public. Landon, her voice thick with grief, expressed the profound sorrow of learning her son's tragic fate. Yet, through her tears, she offered thanks to everyone who had aided in the search for Gannon. She vowed that justice would be served, expressing confidence that Leticia would face the full weight of the law for the unspeakable crime she had committed. The discovery of Gannon's body brought a wave of additional charges crashing down on Leticia, further sealing her fate. 9 violent crime charges were tacked onto her arrest warrant, reflecting the horrific nature of the murder. But Leticia wasn't ready to accept the consequences for a crime she adamantly claimed she didn't commit. In June 2020, Leticia was charged with attempted escape from the El Paso County Jail, a plot thwarted by vigilant guards. Her efforts to delay justice didn't stop there. She pleaded not guilty, fired her defense team, and even requested to represent herself, then hired a new defense lawyer, pushing the trial date even further into the future. Letitia was subjected to 2 competency evaluations conducted by state-appointed psychologists, both deemed her fit to stand trial. But Letitia changed her plea once again, not guilty by reason of insanity. She blamed childhood trauma for her dissociative identity disorder, alleging that an alter ego named Maria took control of her. Judge Gregory Warner ordered a sanity evaluation at the state hospital, which concluded that Letitia had been sane at the time of Gannon's murder. Despite this, her defense team invited Dr. Dorothy Lewis to reevaluate. After nearly 3 years of delays, Judge Warner finally set the trial date. The 5-week trial commenced on April 3, 2023 at the 4th District Judicial Court. The prosecution, led by District Attorney Michael Allen, called several character witnesses to the stand, calling out calculated Letitia. Meanwhile, the defense, led by attorney Josh Tellini, steadfastly argued that Letitia's actions were the result of a psychological break caused by past traumas. Al Stauch, Letitia's ex-husband, was the first to testify. He told the jury he believed Letitia was completely sane when she killed Gannon. Reflecting on their past, Al recounted how he had initially been drawn to Letitia for the stability she seemed to offer as a wife and mother to his children. Now, he expressed deep regret for bringing her into their lives, feeling the weight of his decision. Harley, Letitia's daughter, also took the stand. She testified that she went to Florida with her mother, then checked into a hotel near Pace, Florida, on February 4, 2020. While Harley was sleeping, completely unaware of her mother's horrific actions, Letitia disposed of Gannon's body in the dead of night.
When we started out your testimony this morning, you talked about learning about how your father actually died. Do you remember that?
Yes. The thought just never came across my mind. I just never thought my mom would do that.
The trial took a dramatic turn when neighbor Nicole Mobley testified that Letitia had attempted to bribe her into lying to the police, urging her to claim she had witnessed someone kidnapping Gannon. But it was the testimony of Letitia's own half-brother, Dakota Lowry, that truly shook the courtroom. He recounted the unsettling moment when he witnessed Letitia loading the brown suitcase, later found to contain Gannon's body, into her car. He admitted that something felt deeply wrong about the situation, a nagging suspicion that would later prove tragically accurate. The prosecution also presented damning evidence of Letitia's internet search history and travel records, meticulously pieced together to show that she had planned every step of her actions in a sane and coherent manner. It painted a stark contrast to the defense's narrative, raising serious doubts about her claims of insanity. In a bid to counter this, the defense called Dr. Dorothy Lewis to the stand. As an expert witness, Dr. Lewis testified that Letitia had indeed experienced a psychotic break, frequently slipping into her alter ego, Maria, during interviews. The defense clung to this portrayal of a fractured mind, but the weight of the evidence suggested otherwise, leaving the jury to grapple with the true nature of Letitia's actions. Were they the result of madness or something far more sinister and calculated? But the jury saw through the facade. After just 8 hours of deliberation, they returned with their verdict. On May 8, 2023, Letitia was found guilty of all charges. The jury unanimously agreed. Letitia had been fully sane when she committed the heinous crime. The verdict marked the end of a long and harrowing journey for justice, sealing Letitia's fate as the cold-blooded murderer of Gannon Stauch. She was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole and now resides in the Colorado Women's Correctional Facility. The judge in the case, Judge Gregory Warner, stated that the facts of the case were some of the most horrific he had ever seen. He expressed that Letitia's conduct deserved the maximum punishment allowed under Colorado law, ensuring that she would spend the rest of her life behind bars. The sentencing of Letitia Stauch brought a mixture of relief and sadness to Gannon's family. While they were grateful that justice had been served, the pain of losing Gannon was still raw. Gannon's mother, Landon, spoke at a press conference following the sentencing. She thanked the community and law enforcement for their support and vowed to keep Gannon's memory alive. One of the questions that lingers after the conclusion of the trial is whether this tragedy could have been prevented. Were there signs that Letitia was capable of such violence? Could anyone have intervened before it was too late? Thank you for staying with us through this in-depth look at the Gannon Stouch case. If you found this story compelling and want to learn more about similar cases, please consider subscribing to our channel. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. We would also love to hear your thoughts on this case. Leave a comment below and let us know what you think. Until next time, take care and stay safe.